Welcome back to Policy and Rights here on Depictions Media Radio. I'm your host, Michael Clogs, and we are about to go live with the Cloverdale Chamber and the Surrey mayor's debate. All the candidates that are running for mayor in Surrey, BC, will be answering questions about issues that are in existence here in Surrey, BC, and how the city should be run, and some of the big issues, of course, are around housing, taxes, and transparency of the government to the community. So the whole thing will probably start in about maybe 20 minutes. So please stand by while we get ready to hear what the Surrey mayor candidates have to say for the issues, and how their plan will be to fix some of the issues and address the ideas of what the citizens of the city actually want.
Check one. Check 1 2. Check. Check 1 2.
Is that mic level that you're feeding?
Um,
Is that not?
it should be a balanced mic. Yeah.
Yeah, I've got that. It's better now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
There we go.
Kinda closer. That works for me.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So I'm only at 50%.
Okay.
These are all at 5. I'm at.
You want to try it again? It sounds good to me. You want to try it again?
Okay. I'm probably going to be setting. Yeah.
I hear cackling there. You're moving something.
No, it's. We're getting interference on that one wireless.
Yeah, that's right. You hear that? You hear that?
Yeah. There's something on this frequency. Something's causing interference.
Okay, maybe it's on the same one or is it a different one? I can hear the guys at the table that are talking anyway.
There. I'll give him this one.
Okay.
So we should be.
Yeah, I hear you there.
Actually, I should be pre. So that way, if I do this.
Yeah, I can hear you there. That's good.
Yeah. So this way. Yeah. So this way, you're after my fader. So as I bring it up and down.
Okay. But you to be bringing theirs up and bringing that
Yes.
one down, I guess. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll be. I'm sitting here controlling them.
That works for me right now.
Yeah.
I'm going to shut mine off. I'm going to set up over here.
Yeah.
Thanks.
For batteries, all I have is double A's. So.
I've got double A's up more.
Yeah.
I'm going to go over there.
Okay. I'm just gonna do this and get.
Yeah.
Just because I don't want it on the antennas.
Okay,
There,
no
that's
problem.
all.
Yeah, we can even move it over if you want.
Yeah, that's fine. That's good.
Okay, thanks.
Check 1 2.
64 or 65? Which would have been 65, I think. You got it all. You got it all wrong. So you got Cloverdale softball. You're McKinnon. That's right. You're gonna make that part of your speech today. Well, I think that'd be an important part of it. Sure. Of course. Of course. Good luck. Thank you. Thank you.
Hi, Gord.
Hello, Doug. Finally, we're gonna be finished this stuff, eh?
Well,
Finally, we're almost finished this. Whatever it is we're doing. Did they give any format for what's going on?
no. Did you get questions? I didn't get any. They said they were going to send them. I never got them.
There was gonna.
I don't even know the format.
No, nor do I. There'll be
The counselors were 1 minute.
1 minute introduction.
Yeah, and 1 minute for the questions.
But there were like 30 of them.
No, they did one per team or one per
one per team.
slate.
Any idea what the format is?
They got 6 to 8 questions. I got it on my email, so.
Said there's 6 to 8.
But the opening statement, and then we'll go into the 6 to 8.
The opening statement per minute.
Yeah, a minute or two. I'll find out when it comes up, but I hope it's 2 minutes. Because otherwise, you get into the marbles.
How long for the opening statement?
Do you know how long the opening statement is? Doesn't know. Hey, you. Hey. Oh, lots of I'd rather have a rum and coke. Okay, thank you. Rum and coke.
I'm good. Yeah, thank you. No, it's fine. This is being a marathon for sure. Yeah, so, but, yeah, but it's, we've got a great campaign and been on it and worked hard till the end. So,
You see the when I asked you a question when you weren't there. So, I said I'll be respectful. So I asked the question. Then I went over and I answered it. I said, "Gordy, you jerk." And I thought it was
Is
pretty.
that how I would answer?
Pardon?
Is that how I would answer?
No, so they just asked me to. Well, can I ask? So shall I answer? And I said, so I just picked up and I said, "Gordy, jerk." And then I said a couple of nice things, but I don't think they played that.
Well, no. Hi, if I can get everybody to sit down, please. If you can find a chair. If you can't find a chair, we do have more of them in the back. Perfect. So we'll get things going as quickly as we can so that more time we have, the more questions we can ask all the candidates. I'd like to introduce myself. I'm Scott Wheatley. I'm the Executive Director of the Cloverdale District Chamber of Commerce. And we are proud to represent businesses in Clayton, Cloverdale, and Campbell Heights. So basically, our chamber is the official chamber for East Surrey. We'd like to acknowledge that we are meeting on the traditional territories of the Semiahmoo, Katzie, Kwantlen, Quequot, and Twas First Nations. Tonight, we are two special mentions to thank KPU for giving us a place to hold this meeting. They're amazing hosts, and I just want to thank them very much. Randall Height is here, VP of KPU. Would you like to say a few words?
I should give some thanks, too, to Katie Openshaw and Kevin from security and Andy and everyone else. So thank you all for coming. There's obviously an important vote coming up this weekend, and this is great to see democracy in action. Thank you all for coming here, and make sure that you get home safe, of course, as well. Thanks so much, Scott.
Thanks very much, Randall. These sorts of events couldn't take place without sponsors, and the sponsor for tonight's meeting is the Fraser Valley Real Estate Board. I'd like to invite up Tori Jacobson to say a few words.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Tori Jacobson. I'm a director with the Fraser Valley Real Estate Board and chair of the Government Relations Committee. We're very proud to be a sponsor of an event like this, as we represent over 4,800 realtors working in 7 communities south of the Fraser, including Mission, Abbotsford, Langley Township, and Langley City, Surrey, White Rock, and of course North Delta. We are members of those communities, and we work closely with people in making some of the most significant decisions of their lives, and so these things matter to us. We've been supporting events like this since 2001 because we believe it's important to not only know who we're voting for, but also to know what they stand for. And the reality is our elected representatives make decisions for us both now and into the future. So we've posed some questions that we feel are relevant to the community, and we're here to also hear ideas and concerns that others have as well. So I want to thank the Cloverdale Chamber for hosting this event, for the candidates coming out, and look forward to the dialogue to follow. Thank you.
Great. Thanks very much, Troy, and thank you very much, Fraser Valley Real Estate Board. Now I'd like to introduce our moderator for tonight, Rebecca Smith. Rebecca, aside from being an amazing moderator, is also the president of the Chamber of Commerce. So welcome, Rebecca.
Thank you, Scott. Thank you, everyone, for coming out tonight. I'm always so thrilled to see so many faces, ones I know, one that I don't know. It's great because you're here, because you care, because you're citizens of Surrey and you know that you have a voice and you're going to exercise it this weekend. Yay, everybody. Give yourself a round of applause. So those of you who don't know me maybe need to know that politics is my jam. I love this, and it's really important. It is everything. A lot of people think, oh, politics, I don't want to be there. It's all about fighting. This, he said, she said. No, politics is everything. From the food you eat, the roads you drive, the schools your kids go to, where you play ball, where you live, how much your taxes are, how much your gas is. It is everything. And if you want to say in your life, this is how you do it. So thank you for being here. I need to also remind you that politics is not about fighting. It's about polite, civic discourse. There is no us against them. We are still one city. We are still one community, and we live together. We are always better together, and the only way we can grow is by discussion, talking, having arguments, maybe. But have a discussion, give your point, listen to your people's points of view, and give it some thought. Give some credit to people for their experiences, their knowledge, their ideas, because we're all building this world together. So tonight we are going to err on the side of civility. We will not have any unruly audience members. We will not have any outbursts. We will have community coming together to learn more, to make informed decisions at the ballot box. So here's how it goes. We have a series of questions. Each of our 8 mayoral candidates will be given 1 minute to answer those questions. They will be given a 20-second warning at 40 seconds in, and then at 60 seconds, their mic will be cut off. I don't care if they're in the middle of a sentence, they stop talking, we stop listening. We are fair. And it doesn't matter who that person is, it doesn't matter what they're saying, that's the rules. We have a lot of questions, we have a lot of people, and we're going to get through this all together. So, in addition to that, everyone will get an opportunity to introduce themselves, and they will at the end get an opportunity to give you 1 last minute. They can rebut something someone else said, they can add something, but they only have 1 minute, and that is their last chance to talk to you as a group. So that's the way it's going to work. Now, your responsibility tonight, if you have a cell phone, put it on silent or vibrate. We don't need to hear your conversations amongst yourselves. We do not need to hear your really cool ringtones. We are here to listen and to participate in democracy. And I would appreciate everyone playing my game with me fairly. So, with that said, I am going to introduce our candidates this evening. And I am going to appreciate you all giving them a round of applause before they get a moment to introduce themselves. Tonight, we have all 8 mayoral candidates. We have Amrit Biring. We have Suk Dhaliwal. We have Gordy Hogue. We have Brenda Locke. We have Doug McCallum. We have Kuldeep Palia. We have John Wolanski. And although she confirmed she is not yet here, Ginny Sims, who I'm hoping will arrive shortly. So, that said, I'm going to accept that everyone has played by the rules and put their phones on silent, and we're going to get down to business. And I thank you all for your attentive listening ears. So, each candidate will be given 1 minute to introduce themselves, starting with Amrit Biring.
My name is
Start from this side. I will be the first one.
Hi, let me try again. My name is Amrit Biring. I am a father of 2, a software developer by profession. I am living in Canada for 25 years, and I've noticed that in our golden country, which is resource rich, like oil, fresh water, land, agriculture, uranium, fertilizers, metals and minerals, in spite of all this wealth, our politicians and governments have turned us into a country where just about everyone has been priced out of housing market. In an oil country, the gas price is double, food prices are unaffordable, and our kids in school, they are not taught science and math but other agenda, and I am here to set it on the right course. Thank you.
Thank you, Amrit. Next, we have Suk Dhaliwal.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you to the Chamber of Commerce here in Cloverdale. My name is Suk Dhaliwal. I'm living in this community of Surrey here for the last 25 years. By profession, I'm a professional engineer as well as BC land surveyor. I'm running to be the mayoral candidate for United Surrey team. When you look at the United Surrey team, it's a very diverse team. from cultural perspective and where they live and the talent they bring in. In fact, two of the candidates, Nicole Bennett and Jeff Bridge, are part of this community here in Cloverdale. And the platform that we have is one of the unique ones, and we are going to make sure that we freeze the taxes for the first year, roll back the hidden $300 tax back to $100, and also invest in parks, recreation. Thank you.
Thank you, Suk. Next, we have Gordy Hogue.
My name is Gordy Hogue, that's correct. I have lived in this community for virtually all my life. My parents moved here from Victoria when I was 2 weeks old. And I've grown up in this community and been involved in many things. I was a mayor, I was a member of the Legislative Assembly, and I was a member of Parliament. And one of my concerns through all those periods of time was that so many decisions were being made that didn't have the benefit of lived experience. For example, sitting in cabinet in Victoria, we get reports that would come from academics and bureaucrats and not referencing the people that the impact was having upon those people with lived experience. I'm colorblind. What does that mean? 15 seconds, thank you. So that was my passion. I've sat on about 15 nonprofit boards. I still sit on 5 of them, including Food Banks British Columbia, a Senior Disability Without Poverty, and that's the end up. Thank you.
Thank you. Just a bit of housekeeping. If the next, when you speak, if you could stand, it'll be better for our cameras so we can stream this over the next few days as well. Next, we have Brenda Locke.
Well, thank you, and hello, everyone. I'm Brenda Locke, and I'm running to be mayor of this fine city. I have lived in Surrey for 40 years. I was a former MLA and cabinet minister. I have 2 kids that I raised in Surrey, and I'm very, very proud of this city. We are running, the Surrey Connect slate is running to bring back integrity and honesty into Surrey City Hall, and to make every one of you proud again to be a resident of this amazing city that we share. The people that are running on our team, I am very, very happy to run with, because we are exactly that. We are a team, and everyone brings something very special to our Surrey Connect family. So with that, I want to thank you and enjoy the evening.
Thank you. Next, we have Doug McCallum.
Thank you very much, and thank you for inviting me here today. I've lived in Surrey for over 50 years. I love Surrey, but I especially love the people of Surrey. I've worked with the people of Surrey in all different roles, from when I was younger as a swim coach, as a lifeguard at a Kennedy pool in Surrey. All my family lives here, and I have 7 grandkids that also go to school here. I'm running for mayor again, and I have been mayor in the past. I'm running again because I do love the people. I want to help the people. I want to build this great city. I love how people listen to each other, work together to build a great city. I want to encourage that, and I will work extremely hard for you.
Thank you. Next, we have Kuldeep Palia.
I'm an accounting finance professional with an engineering background, a degree in engineering. And for the last 10 years, I've been acting as a social activist. I've written so many posts in my Facebook page, and I've written so many emails to provincial authorities to improve conditions in Surrey, especially related with the health, housing, education, and public transportation. So I want to become mayor because I will have more strength in my voice. I want to get lots of things done. Most of the things, those important things, are done by the province. So under the authority of province. So that's why I am filing my papers, and that's why I'm standing here in front of you to represent you. I'm a common man. I will work for the common man. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you. And finally, we have John Wolanski.
Last chance for romance. Our systems of government seem to work on the premise as it was a certain bodily function. First there is a sitting, then there is a report, finally the matter drops. Our system is suffering from congestion, not for congestion, but constipation. It would take a 50-foot trailer of Pepto-Bismol and X-Lax to relieve us of discomfort, bloat, and gas from this election. I'm offering relief from this by voting independent. Surrey, John Wolanski. We got to get rid of this thing. It's gone far enough. Thank you.
Okay, so we've had a chance to meet all 7 of our candidates that are here this evening, and we will begin with our questioning. We will alternate who begins first, so there's no advantage to always coming first or always coming last, and I will randomly select who goes first on the questions. So for question 1, on the topic of democracy and governmental roles, we will start with John Wolanski. Elected positions in government are meant to be representative of the electorate, and as such, voter access and input into city governance is important. Transparency and accountability are key. How would you, as mayor, handle the current dissatisfaction with transparency and access? Do you support the use of the public auditor general?
I support the Auditor General, but I also support a ward system. So you know thy neighbor, you have your person come to you, report, and it's based on the crime model. We have these community police stations, so we coordinate them with the wards, and then we cut down the crime at the same time. So nobody's operating in a silo, and you represent your community.
Thank you. Next, Gordy Hogue, same question.
Well, firstly, I think that we should be aware that politicians don't know more than anybody else, and therefore they have to remember who they report to. They report to the citizens of their community, and therefore being able to have that dialogue, to have that interaction is so terribly important that that's maintained. And I think having a number of advisory committees that bring forward perspectives, ideas, thoughts, and visions in terms of what should happen, and that the role of the politician, I think, is to be value-based and be able to listen and interpret that and put that forward. You can't please everybody all the time, but you can make good fundamental decisions based on information and dialogue and dialectic with the citizens of your community. And I think that's what a democracy is about. It's about representing and reporting back to them, having those times for them to speak to you and you to interact with them so that you're engaged, involved, and making decisions that are you're cognizant of the needs of the community as it's perceived by so many citizens. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, Doug McCallum.
Thank you very much. I believe very strongly in public consulting, and in fact, running for this election, we went out to the public and we asked the public what they would like us needed in our community, very fast-growing multicultural community. They told us what they felt, and that was one form of made up our campaign. The other, in all our development processes, we have public meetings in our city hall. The people come and give us advice and so forth on the development projects that go ahead. We also, as soon as we get elected, we are going to go out to a full public consulting on the OCP, which is the official community plan, which is required by the BC government of every city. And we will be doing a 6-month public consulting on our development in our great city. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Amrit Beering.
Governments are supposed to be of, by, and for the people. Very often, the for part is forgotten. There is a quote, where people are scared of government is tyranny, where government is scared of people is democracy. And it's not really practiced. In last 2-3 years, we have seen what tyranny government did, what mandates they did, how threatening were they, how they tried to divide society and demonize certain people who were willing to stand up for their rights. I am all for transparency of City Hall. In our mayorship, there will be a weekly town hall where press and people alike can come and we can discuss what are the things on progress. Not that you take your vote for 4 years and then say bye-bye. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, I have Suk Dhaliwal.
Thank you. And when it comes to voters' access, certainly people of Newton or Delta elected me twice as their member of parliament, and then people of Newton 3 times. So altogether, been member of parliament five times. And I can tell you, the busiest office in whole of Canada is Surrey Newton. And we have given access irrespective of where people live, whether they supported us or not. It's always open. My cell phone is public. Anyone can call me on my cell phone or leave a message. We'll always get a call back. And when it comes to transparency and accountability, those are the 2 major things that we are running on. And in fact, we are the ones who have said it in writing that we will bring in Auditor General for 2 years from the province to look at the finances of the city. Moving forward, we'll have a audit in each project that goes through city. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Brenda Locke.
Thank you. That's a really critical question. One of the most important things I think we all have to remember is what is crucial is the public trust. And what does the public trust mean to every single citizen? City Hall belongs to you. It doesn't belong to the people that sit in the chair at the front. It belongs to the residents of the city. And so for that, we need to be as open and transparent and always accountable as we possibly can. And there are very, very narrow rules about when we are not to be open and transparent to you. So I think that is one thing we have to be really cognizant of. I think the other piece is bringing back the ethics commissioner is going to go a long way to make sure that people really understand what is ethical conduct in our city. We will do that, and we are going to do that. And there will also be whistleblower bylaws for you residents.
Thank you. And finally, we have Kuldeep Palia.
Hello. Thank you very much. I'm a numbers man. I love data. All the posts which I've written in the Facebook based on data. So all the things which we do, all the estimates, all the contracts, everything will be made public immediately to the public. And public will have free access to all the information they want. There won't be any charge. Any information they want about city, anytime you can get it. Anytime you can meet any of you, they can meet me. Complete access. All auditor general will appoint that. Ethics commissioner is welcome. So all the citizens will be treated equal. That's what my mandate is. Completely transparent. Everything will, all the estimate, whatever we do, people will know what we are doing. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. On to question 2. This one focuses on taxes and affordability. The overall cost of property and business taxes have gone up significantly over the past few years, and the cost of living, inflation rates, and cost of everything has been soaring. What would you do to keep taxes and this life in Surrey affordable? We will start with Brenda Locke.
Thank you. One of the things that we are going to be very clear on, everything that we are talking about or committing to or promising in this election will be costed. And I mean everything. We will not come to you with empty promises of swimming pools or 300 police officers. That's not functional. It can't be afforded. Certainly, we all know that the transition to a municipal police force is going to cost this residents of this city dearly. We cannot afford it. You need to understand the impact it's going to have on you, on your neighbors, and the people that are living with large mortgages. We need to really help them. Coming years are going to be very difficult enough for people, and so I guess that's the main thing I want to communicate, is that we will be costing everything and watching every nickel we spend. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have John Wolanski.
My platform consists on basic services. None of these pet projects should be allowed to proceed. We want to pick up the garbage, clean the streets, fix the potholes, and have a reasonable policing structure. The policing transition was badly handled. The RCMP should just absorb these officers in there, and we can get on with this so there's no further costs, and then we can get back to that. But I said basic things have to be taken care of first. Otherwise, we're going to escalate the tax base into the thing where no one can afford to live here. Thank you.
Next, we have Amrit Bering.
If you double the housing price in any country with same salary, it's a recipe to not only price out everyone out of housing market, but also make pretty much everyone hand to mouth. At the same time, our young generation, when they come out of education and look for jobs, they have pretty much no hope and they will go into depression. And you can see your kids, they have no choice but to live with their parents. Even rent is not affordable. So we need to understand why is it so. First thing, our government started selling our property to foreigners, and then because of unprecedented immigration numbers and no plan for housing them, we are all priced out. So we need to address that, and in general, we need to keep taxes lower and cut the government wastage. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, Kuldeep Palia.
Okay. Many people ask me this question about property tax and other taxes. So my question is always there that we will compare whatever taxes we charge in property taxes in our city with similar cities in other parts of Canada. And then all other taxes apart from property taxes, we will evaluate each and every tax and we'll see if we have to adjust it, make any kind of adjustment. And for affordability, I've seen that the rents are going very, very high these days, and I would request the BC government to include everybody under the subsidy, qualify for subsidy depending on a certain level of income. Right now, they give subsidy only to families with one kid or seniors, but I want everybody should be considered for subsidy depending on the income. So, and also I want that city housing, we have to include more city housing for subsidized housing, have to increase. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, Sukh Dhaliwal.
3 months ago when we launched the United Surrey team, we promised that we will freeze the property taxes for the first year, and in the second year we will bring back the $300 hidden tax that this mayor and council put on each property to help the people that need it. On the other hand, we have 1,500 people moving into Surrey every month. We do not have enough supply to meet the demand. What we are going to do is we are going to make the projects and building permits process the fastest in the lower mainland, so we have adequate supply to meet the demand. This is how we are going to help, and federal government and provincial government is there if we need to hire more plan checkers, more building inspectors, and more planners to do the work that we need to do at the fastest pace. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, Gordy Hogue.
Well, I've talked to people about the 2.9% taxation rate and that they're going to hold it at that. But when I asked them to figure out the numbers that they're actually paying and trying to equate that to a percentage, the percentage is much higher. I had yesterday someone told me 16%. Somebody told me 23%. So there are a lot of ways to look at what's going on in terms of the taxation. It's not just what you see as a percentage. It is also covers what happens with the parcel tax, what happens when the city decides to sell some of its land and use that as part of the revenue, which I think that we should be holding on to every piece of land that the citizens of this community own. That has to be ever protected within the model that we're looking at. So planning taxation rates have to be looked over a longer period of time. They're much more complex than just saying, here is a percentage. You've got to equate what that interprets to in terms of actual dollars. And that's a big difference when you put that percentage back and compare it to 2.9%. It's much more burdensome. Thank you.
Thank you. And finally, we have Doug McCallum.
Thank you very much. I've been mayor for over 12 years off and on, and I have always been fiscally responsible to the residents. When I was mayor before, we froze property taxes for about 6 years. The Safe Surrey Coalition has done the budget for next year. We've analyzed it, and we will freeze the property tax at 2.9% each year for the next 4 years. People have to realize that budgets are divided into one is a capital budget and one is the operating budget. We're talking about the operating budget here. The capital budget is mainly paid by development fees, development cost charges, density bonusing charges. That's what pays for the infrastructure. Our proposals have been fully funded out. By law, we have to balance our budget every year legally. Thank you.
Thank you. On to question 3 on taxes and affordability again. Are you in favor of keeping the RCMP in Surrey, or do you want to continue the transition to a Surrey Police Department? As significant costs have already been incurred for the transition, what are the reasons you have for either scrapping or continuing the transition, and how much will this decision cost the taxpayers of Surrey? To first answer, we have Suk Dhaliwal.
Thank you. I'm committed to make sure that the transition happens and which is very open and transparent process. So people are able to know how long it's going to take and how much it's going to cost the taxpayers. It is very important that we get it done at the fastest pace possible to save costs. Because it's already, if we look at the IT section, the cost of the chips have already gone up. So longer we wait, worse it's going to be for the taxpayers. So I fully support to bring in the local Surrey police. And not only that, in fact, we can triage the system, that we can have a 3-tier system. We can have bylaw officers that will be dealing with the bylaws, and we'll have mental health professional that will be dealing with the mental health, and also the police officer that will be dealing with the crime-related issues. And that is the plan we have.
Thank you. Next, we have Doug McCallum.
Thank you very much. I am fully in support of continuing with our Surrey Police Service. It cannot be reversed anyways. The government has indicated that. The budget for our policing, it doesn't matter whether it's RCMP or Surrey Police. Our budget per year is $195 million. That is, doesn't matter which police force. For the transition, we put in $68 million. And that was mainly for new computers, and we had to do that cost also for the RCMP because their computers are outdated. And so the total cost for our policing is $195 million. That's the budget that all of council approved. That is the budget that the Surrey Police Service and the RCMP jointly have approved.
Thank you. Next, we have Brenda Locke.
I am absolutely going to stop this transition, and with all due respect, this transition can, must, and will be stopped. There is no equitable way of carrying this forward without cutting services or increasing taxes significantly to residents. I am not going to be a party to increasing taxes to our citizens when they are facing such dire times. This Surrey Police Service has been an absolute failed experiment. They have not reached any of their goals from the time they started. They were the ones that set the goal of being fully operational by April 1st, 2021. They failed. They said they'd have 50 officers in place by November 30th, 2021. They failed. It's time to move on, to put stability back in policing in our city, in our region. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have John Wolanski.
Comes back to the argument. If somebody offered to pay your auto insurance, another person charged you for it, which company would you choose? The federal government insures the airplanes, the vehicles for the RCMP. Now, on this transition, we get the cost passed on to you. So the thing is, that was the thing when I signed the petition, one of the first ones to sign it in this mall over here. The fact is, I was looking at that thing, the insurance capacity was part of the decision. So there we got that problem out of the way. So we got to talk about this thing. The thing is, the thing's gone too far. We need to look at it again, and that's a common sense approach to it. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Gordy Hogue.
Well, I agree. We need to look at it again because none of the information we have is consistent. We're told that it could cost $520 million more. Some people say $20 million more. Talking to people who are on council, they don't even have the numbers. The numbers seem to be spread out somewhere unknown. And therefore, I think that what we need to do is actually, when whoever gets elected should be saying, all right, we now need to have the facts. And those facts are what we should be making decisions on. We go through life making decisions for ourselves, whether it's a mortgage we can afford or whatever it might be. But we need to have the facts before we do that. And we as citizens of this community need to have those facts as well. And then we should make a decision based on those facts. It's not our decision. We recommend it. The province of British Columbia makes the decision. It's the Solicitor General that decides what's going to happen. But you can make a recommendation to them, but you've got to make a recommendation based on facts and information. They've done studies that they've given to us, and now we have to make sure that if we want to go ahead with it, we should be taking it to the public and let the referendum go forward.
Next, we have Kuldeep Pelia. Kuldeep.
Okay, I contested the elections in 2018 also as a council candidate, and I supported the Surrey Zone Police. It's good, it gives us better control, and all the cities almost this size have their own police force. The cost is normally a one-time cost. It's a capital cost. It will be shared by the other levels of government. And once it is set up, I will try to, if I become a mayor, I will try to complete the transition as soon as possible. This will continue. I support it fully. So, but we make sure that expenses don't go up of transition, and we try to complete in a time. So that's plus it will give us very good opportunities for our local people to get employed. Thank you. Bye-bye.
And finally, we have Amrit Bering.
When I announced my candidacy for mayor, I got email from National Police Federation, which is a RCMP union. So in this election, they are a big stakeholder, and they have put a lot of money backing certain people because it's just a good old union job security. Because of Surrey changes, other cities can follow too. So this is a rock and a hard place. We don't favor anyone. Our criteria is whichever police uphold people's rights. RCMP has amply demonstrated during last 2 years that they can be an arm of Ottawa instead of people's protector. They have openly violated our constitutional rights of freedom of speech, mobility, and freedom of expression. We will negotiate with both police. Whoever gives us better confidence will go with them. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is on public safety. What investment are you willing to make to eliminate street racing in Campbell Heights? We will start with Amrit Bering.
I didn't know about this situation until I read your questionnaire, which was sent by email. So street race does happen in many cities in the world. It's a way for some people to get a lot of excitement. So I guess they are held back, and we need to officially provide youth to express themselves so they can outlet their energy in a better way, and they can win some Olympic medals for us instead of breaking laws and doing it illegally. Thank you.
Next, Sukh Dhaliwal.
Thank you. When it comes to public safety, that is the top priority for our team. Even though I'm fully supportive of the transition to Surrey Police, but I fully respect our national pride, which is RCMP, and no candidate should certainly say that RCMP has not done a great work here. And I salute all the RCMP officers across this nation. When it comes to street racing, I certainly said earlier that we will have a triage system. We will have a traffic section that will be dealing with the traffic issues that these communities are facing. It's not only the Campbell Heights. I can tell you in Strawberry Hill, we have seen the same problem. I was driving on 128th, and we certainly got to work on this to make sure we punish the people that are part of the street racing to save lives and save our communities.
Thank you. Next, we have Gordy Hogue.
Well, I don't think that we should be allowed street racing on any street. And any time that presents itself, it presents as a risk. And I would rely upon the police and the people who have expertise in this to make some recommendations around that, whether it's speed bumps or whether it's radar or whether it's other ways of monitoring it. And there are certainly other systems where they have lights and cameras that pick up and are able to pick them on that. So there are strategies in terms of enforcing that. But the issue is public safety, and public safety should be prevalent whatever road we're looking at it. And if Campbell Heights it's worse, then we should be putting forward some of those strategies, some of those things that we look at in other parts of the community. And those are important steps. Again, public safety is the most important issue as we deal with this, and we need to go to the experts in that to make sure that they look at it and decide how we can best handle it within the context of Campbell Heights.
Thank you. Next, we have Brenda Locke.
Thank you. Actually, in 2004, I put a provincial bill forward just about this very thing about street racing, and I read it in the provincial legislature, and our dear MP Chuck Cadman did it in the federal legislature at the same time. It was a cooperative bill that we both ran on street racing. This is an incredibly important issue for us to deal with. I can tell you, I agree with Mr. Dhaliwal. It is not something that is specific singularly and only to Campbell Heights. We certainly have seen it even as we're door knocking right on urban streets. It is something that I will work directly with the RCMP to talk to them about how they're going to handle it, because they're the experts. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Doug McCallum.
Thank you very much. I heard about this just about a month ago. We acted really quickly on it. I, in fact, have been up twice up there to have a look at them, once at night when it took place. Our engineering department has been up and working with the people up there. We have already just lately, last week, put speed bumps in up there and also speed strips. And that seems to have cured it at this time. We have also did an education program with the kids that are speeding to work with them to be sure they understand the safety concern of it. We also, as a city, just recently looked in doing a trial of moving our speed limit in all our city from 50 to 30. That speed trial is just about finished. We look like we will probably be looking at implementing a 30 mile per hour or a kilometer speed limit in all of our city instead of 50. That will also reduce speed racing. Thank you.
Thank you. The next, I will remind you that we're engaging in civil discourse, everyone. Thank you. Our next speaker is Kuldeep Palia.
See, City Hall belongs to people. All the money which city has, all the property belongs to people. Nothing will be spared for the safety of people. If CCTV cameras are needed anywhere, we will put CCTV cameras. We will have well-trained police officers, as good training, as much training as any city could have. And they will be told strictly that the function of police is to serve and protect. No racism among policemen will be tolerated, and they will be working all the time. And I am also looking at the numbers. Our police officers in Surrey, we have only 800, whereas Vancouver is almost about 1,400. So we need more police officers also, more people on foot patrol, so people should see them, feel safer. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And finally, we have John Wolanski.
It seems pretty clear this is a traffic enforcement issue. The capacity to seize these vehicles for excessive speeding is probably in the criminal code. So forfeiture would probably end this practice pretty quick, as well as the multiple fines imposed because they can't get their driver's license until they pay it. So that would be the mechanism I would use, and then have a sort of a street patrol just sort of shadow this thing, and it'll put this activity back to where it should be, not on the street. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is on housing. How would you respond to critics who argue housing availability and affordability is a provincial and municipal issue that can only be solved with solutions at the local level? We will begin the answers with Gordy Hogue.
Well, I think it's a responsibility of both the provincial and the local government. But most importantly, the local government has enormous facility, ability, and tools that they can use to ensure that we look at issues of affordability. The costs right now represent, in terms of the cost increases, represent between 20 and 30% of the cost of housing is as a result of the issues that come out of City Hall, in terms of the length of time it takes, which is extreme in many cases, and a number of the issues that they have to be deal with. So that's the first issue. The opportunity that the City Council has in terms of zoning is if somebody proposes a 50-unit building, if you were to say to them, we'll give you a little more height or a little more coverage if you will designate 2 or 3 of those units as affordable housing, which means less than 30% of the cost of somebody's income. And you get designated that, and it will be given by deeded to a nonprofit society so it can be held on to and managed forever within the context of the city.
Thank you, Gordy. Next, we have Kuldeep Palia.
Housing is actually a provincial matter, but we have to help our citizens. They should have a roof on their heads. I can see lately, first of all, as I already told, that we have to cover more people under subsidy program, than subsidy, and also we have to insist on more city housing than we have. Right now, we have only 5,000 units, subsidized units in Surrey, whereas in Vancouver they have 25,000 or more. So we also, I'm looking at some more co-op projects, The co-projects is win-win situation for everybody. We need better housing. And another thing which I have noticed, that 3-story buildings or 4-story apartment buildings where people have been living for years as their homes, they shouldn't be demolished. The developers who want to create condominium towers, they should buy houses and do it.
Next we have Sukh Dhaliwal.
All 3 orders of the government can be a force of good. In fact, if you look at both, the federal government has come up with a plan as well as the provincial government. In fact, us at a local level, we got to take that opportunity to have a relationship with the provincial and federal government. Within the first 100 days, if people give us a chance, we will make sure that we go to Ottawa and also to Victoria so we can work together to deal with this situation. If I look at the last 4 years, this mayor and the council, except Brenda Locke and Jack Hundal, none of the others have ever been to Ottawa to see if we can seek a help. Federal government has already put 2 projects here, which is rapid housing, and in fact have helped with the provincial government on the homelessness as well as building a low-income housing here.
Thank you. Next, we have Doug McCallum.
Thank you very much. I think it's a joint between the province and the municipality, and also with help from the federal government. In Surrey, we have a wide spectrum of housing, all the way from 12 homeless shelters, and we are building a couple as I speak now, to affordable rental, especially in the thousands of secondary suites we have in our city, towards building for the middle class. We also just recently signed a housing agreement with one of the first cities with the provincial government, so that when we build SkyTrain, and by building rapid transit lines and having the density right beside the transit line, then that helps the affordability as we move forward. And working with the provincial government, which we do a very good job, and the federal government, who do supply money, Surrey's been able to build a lot of affordable housing in our city. Thank you.
Thank you. Next we have Amrit Beering.
There is something called redirection, that when you create a problem, you point finger at someone else. So that's the situation here. I claim that we have all federal, provincial and city government responsible for it. For instance, we are getting 1,500 new people in Surrey each month, and that's the direct result of federal government policy. So they are totally involved in it. At the same time, city, when the property prices go up because there's a shortage of houses, they are ever happy to raise taxes year after year after year. So they are a vested interest because their coffers get filled, but people don't get any reprieve. So all 3 are involved. Province is directly involved. So it's everyone's responsibility for sure. Thanks.
Thank you. Next, we have John Wolanski.
Okay, there's actually 3 phases in here. We have low barrier shelter, and the other part of the shelter, and then we also have affordable housing, and then we have the market sector. So we take city-owned lands. The federal and provincial government have to pay for the infrastructure. We can zone the city-owned lands as our contribution, build these units. But under the strata rules, you can't expect someone making significant investment to actually have people come in the building that could violate the strata. So what we have to do, I know it's a hard thing to separate people, but this way we can have a functioning housing supply and also at a cost-effective manner.
Thank you. And finally, we have Brenda Locke.
Thank you. And this is really complex problem, and one that you can't really deal with in 1 minute, but I'll give you my best shot at it. First of all, there's a difference between affordable housing and housing affordability. They're completely different. They sound nuanced, but they're completely different. So affordable housing is shelter housing. It's below market housing. Housing affordability is something that everybody is dealing with every day. And that is where we need to see all kinds of things change. Better public transit is one of them. We do have to build, though, better relationships with both levels of government, better bilateral with the federal and provincial government, but there's one other order, and that's Metro Vancouver. Metro Vancouver has its own affordable housing area, and we need to do better with them. We are shortchanged in the city of Surrey by a lot. So, thank you. I see the red card.
Thank you. On to our next question. In light of numerous examples of businesses and residential developments waiting 12 plus months for approvals, the BC government has published roadmaps for addressing issues of housing affordability through the Development Approvals Process Review and the BC Canada Expert Panel on the Future of Housing Supply and Affordability. If you are elected, what measures from DAPR or the expert panel report will you adopt to streamline approvals and fast-track developments to assist small businesses, industries, and housing? We will begin this question with Doug McCallum.
Thank you very much for the question. We have already started to look at reducing our wait times for development on all forms of housing. It is critical with inflation the way it is and with our high growth of about 1,200 people a month moving in. We need to be a lot quicker in our process. We have committed, if we're elected, to completely turn the planning department upside down and to get very quick permit approval by being innovative, by doing away with a number of plans that we have out there. The official community plan is the one that we will be working off, and as I mentioned, we will immediately go in and develop that OCP. We want to bring our wait times to where we can build a single-family house in a single-family lot and get permits in 2 weeks.
Thank you. Next, we have Amrit Beering.
We need to issue faster permits, that we all know. But why is it not done? Probably our mayor knows. But I can speculate that we have shortage of city staff. And shortage is because during last 2-3 years, many people are discouraged to work. They just took retirement. At the same time, we have unprecedented housing demand, so there is more permit applications. I just fail to understand why our city hall cannot process them fast enough. Why don't they hire more employees? Why don't they train them faster? So that's the solution. And a bigger picture is, I do understand there's a global forces who are trying to take down the remaining free prosperous countries, US, Canada, and Western Europe, and they orchestrated in last 2-3, whatever they did. They shut down all the supply chain, they shut down businesses, they locked down people, and we are having all the after effects now.
Next, we have John Wolanski.
The problem is there is a backlog right now, and we can't just push our way out of it unless you hire more people. And, of course, there's more taxes. But, you know, I'm looking at this whole spectrum, and I think in Canada we have actually one too many levels of government. I think the federal and municipal level could function quite well on its own. The provincial seems to be the pass the cash to the person and then pass it down the line. So maybe we can eliminate the middleman, and then we can all take care of this, because we can get the federal government who's responsible under the charter for the housing and all this stuff to take care of that. But that's just a speculation I had. When I looked at it, I realized that there's duplication in many areas. So, I mean, I'm not trying to push anyone out of a job, but, you know, we got to look at something. Bye.
Thank you. Next, we have Kuldeep Palia.
For the last few months, I've been receiving quite a few letters. And the maximum letters I get about housing affordability, and next one is permits. It takes a long time. Somebody says, oh, it's been 10 months I didn't get hear from the city hall. Somebody says, oh, it's almost a year we didn't receive. It was only repair work. Even then we didn't get license permit. So we have to streamline it. We have to make it quicker. We have to work with the staff. If the more staff is needed, we'll hire more staff. But all the resources, all the money belongs to the people. We have to do something which is convenient to the people. So we have to make it faster, much faster. I think it's about 3 months should be okay, maximum for single family home permit. Maybe it may take 6 months up to for a multi-story building. Thank you.
Thank you. Next we have Suk Dhaliwal.
We will make sure that the projects are processed based on the merits, and it's an open, transparent process, and every project has a forensic audit. Contrary to now, there's a land mafia. If you got to get your project through fast, you got to get through that land mafia, which are few insiders of this mayor and council. Others are waiting for years and months, and we would not have that. And also, on the other hand, we are the first team